Now, his is a name that doesn't feature prominently, but his work has helped preserve some very important parts of Kenya's history. Dr. Maina Kagombe once worked at the helm of the Kenya National Archives as the first African director, as well as the National Museums, and is also the founder of the Kenya Yearbook. Now retired, he has dedicated his time to inculcating a culture of appreciating our past, especially among the youth. We find Dr. Maina Kagombe at his home. He's advanced in age, but that has hardly impacted his affinity for the history of this country. It has been 4 decades since his time at the helm of the Kenya National Archives. Dr. Kagombe served as the 3rd chief archivist and the first African to do so post-independence. He recounts a memorable moment.
We managed to get Murumbi archives. We call it antiquities and Africana. And that one, Murumbi said, how can somebody come and say, you want to take my archives? I can sell my archives to anybody I want. And then I told him, I'm sorry, go back to the archives, act, and you are the one who did it. You said people should not take records from Kenya to outside. Should be part and parcel of Kenya.
Dr. Kagombe is talking about Kenya's 2nd Vice President, Joseph Murumbi, who was approached by foreign bidders to sell off his art collection. Murumbi was one of Africa's greatest private collectors of artifacts, art pieces, books, jewelry, postal stamps, textiles, and furniture. It was a collection Dr. Kagombe knew had to remain on Kenyan soil. He went ahead to publish a Gazette notice in March 1976, barring anyone, including Murumbi, from disposing any items considered to be antiquities of natural cultural value. The collection is still on display at the Nairobi Gallery. The move saw Dr. Kagombe critiqued for overextending the mandate of the National Archives and incorporating a wide range of non-archival functions. But many in the field considered that period the golden age of the Kenya National Archives. From there, he would serve at the National Museums and eventually start the Kenya Yearbook.
The Kenya Yearbook came about because we did not have enough literature. Kenya Yearbook, therefore, was to facilitate young people to get enough bibliography to be able to write their dissertations and to read more.
Dr. Kagombe now lends his time to telling the stories of little-known historical figures. His recent work that was launched not too long ago highlights the life and times of Wangu Wamakeri. He describes how this project began in the early 60s in the office of a colonial secretary who had a picture of the late Wangu Wamakeri hanging in their office.
What happened with the book? When I saw it, it was during the Kenyatta time.
Book or picture?
The picture. And when I saw it, I didn't know what it was either. But it looked like somebody have been heard about my mother talk about. They had funny stories about Wangu. How he used to rule men, how he used to address, how he... And the exaggeration, because to correct that situation, I had to come with a book.
His quest to get her real story and set the record straight culminated in this book that portrays a side of the chief and Iron Lady other accounts have not done. Dr. Kagombe hopes this can cultivate a culture of doing justice to the stories of some of the unsung heroes of our past.